All right, we're going to start. I am Diane Trimbath, and we are talking about June, although we're starting in the middle of May, which is unusual for us. So typically, so I get an idea. We have Capricorn, Leo, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, correct?
Virgo.
And Virgo. Who's Virgo? Oh, okay.
One of our relationships.
Okay, well, just tell me if I skip anybody. But basically, I always start off the presentation with what is astrology. And astrology is actually the study of the movements of the planets in the sky and how they relate to the affairs on Earth, how they influence and relate to the affairs on Earth. And it's like a clockwork motion, and it's precise and it's timed and it's regimented. So you can really see changes take place, and that's why these I don't want predictions, so to speak, can be accountable and tracked, so to speak. So this is the planetary landscape for June. First of all, and just to start off, the tension in the sky right now is tremendous, and we're in the middle of May. Halfway through the presentation, we'll get to Uranus, which is one of the driving factors as to why this intensity is going on right now. And we also have aspects going on with Pluto, which is not covered in this presentation, but it was covered in a couple of the other ones, May and April, because that was the primary topic. So ask me questions, and I will answer them, and I'm sure it will come up throughout the presentation. But if you have any questions, just ask me. Okay, but right now I'm focusing on June. And so we have two things going on in June. First of all, we have the Sun in Gemini, and we have Mercury in Gemini. And so the Sun is actually your identity, your vitality. It is how you see yourself and how you relate individually into the world. And so the energy right now on how you're asserting, all of us, really, we're being influenced by this energy. And so it's asserting our identity through Gemini, which is communication. It's how we communicate, how we relate, how we socialize. Gemini in itself is a very friendly type of energy. It's very talkative, communicative. But what you're doing is it's an energy of social and intellectual learning. So information is, the attraction of what's bringing you together with other people right now in the air. Okay. Possible difficulties with this energy is that you want to gather information, but one of the negative qualities of Gemini is it could generate gossipy type information, or you could tend to see superficial type relationships. That's the opposite aspect of it, but the positive is gathering information for knowledge and for helping to attain your advancement on your path, so to speak. Mercury also is in Gemini, so they're sharing the sky, and the Sun is actually your purpose, or the purpose, or what has your attention right now. And Mercury is actually helping you to transmit and or relate that to other people. So Mercury, so to speak, is looking at things, dissecting things, looking at the logic, looking at the methods, the objectives, how information is put together. But it pretty much has to do with information, gathering knowledge, And it's also very adaptable energy. So you may see a lot of things changing in the sky right now, or changing in your life, being more flexible. It also brings in a lot of unexpected travel or traveling here and there. It increases it, shorter distances, things that you're familiar with though. So this is going on, and what I'll do is show you how this affects to each one of you personally and how this is playing out in your lives, okay? But, so Mercury in Gemini, this is actually going, it started May 29th, so it actually hasn't even started yet, and it will be going through June 12th. So typically, Mercury will transit through signs for roughly 2 to 3 weeks at a time, depending on the speed of it. So I'm going to talk to, let's see, what do we have? Gemini. So Gemini, this type of an energy will influence you right now, it's in your first house. So it's all about you. It's all about how other people see you and what you have to say, how you relate to other people. But it's basically, you're really focused on the words you're choosing and how you're coming across and the information you're giving out, so to speak. So you're really analyzing how you come across to other people. Does that fit?
I would imagine. I'm thinking about grandkids.
Okay. But it's a playful energy. Gemini is friendly and playful.
My grandson's Cancer.
You want me to do Cancer and Scorpio? Okay. All right. Cancer is the 12th house. So for the Cancers, it's in the 12th house. So you're actually either doing a lot of information gathering in isolation, either on the computer, dealing with people who are removed from you. You have relationships and you're talking back and forth, but you don't see the people, so that brings in the internet a lot. Or it could be a good time for meditation, bringing in communication and wisdom from other planes, other dimensions. It can also be dealing with, too much information, so you're cleaning up and letting go, getting rid of, purging, and focusing on what's important and getting rid of what's not important. So that's the focus for Cancer with this type of an energy. Leo, that would be you, Genesee. 11th house, so you're actually focused on a lot of communication right now with groups and organizations. Groups of people, teams of people, and or friendships. But it has to do with learning, it has to do with teaching, it has to do with transmitting information back and forth, and you're getting a lot of help and support, actually. Virgo has to do with their career, okay? So, and it's a challenge right now. So they may be dealing with blocks or challenges in their career. They're not getting what they need to work with. They're not able to move forward because people are giving them problems as far as maybe they're holding on to information and not giving it to them. So it's a challenge to work through as far as being able to do their job accurately and to shine. Because they're having to work extra hard to crank through it, so to speak. Libras, very nice as far as teaching type of energy, teaching, traveling, and possibly even planning trips or planning goals or goal setting. Working with advisors and planning, but planning things for goals, goal-oriented or future-oriented type projects. But very nice energy there. And again, this lasts through the middle of June, so play it through your mind, what's going on in your life, to work with the energies and use them to your benefit. Or did we say Scorpio we want? Scorpio? Scorpio, it's actually making adjustments as far as changing your ideas as to how you're working with other people's assets, other people's money, other people's, or looking for information or uncovering information that has to do with money that's not yours and how it applies to you, and changing your perception on how you're going to work through and make changes to balance budgets or get more money from people who aren't necessarily cooperating, or how can you increase the relationship so that you can profit and be more profitable, things like that. Sag, do we have Sag?
Capricorn.
We're getting there.
No Sag.
No Sag? Okay. Capricorn. You are number 10 on the list always. Capricorn, you're dealing with making changes on how it has to do with your health, your routine, your diet. You're personally reorienting your schedule in order to either make it more flexible or bring in more information on how you can make improvements and or how you can work. It's for your personal betterment, your personal health, your personal efficiency, so to speak. So you're using this type of information gathering for those purposes. Does that fit?
Yeah. I was just thinking, yeah.
Okay, but it's practical.
Yeah,
It's
so this
practical.
is like the end of May through June, 1st June?
It's the end of May through the middle of June.
Yeah.
So that will be coming in. So actually, we're not there yet, but it's coming. And then Aquarian, it will be play. You get to play. So you may be planning trips. You may be going on short journeys. You may be going, familiar places. But it's all about play, creativity, art, adventures. It's nice stuff.
Part of travel by air hits on the 11th of June.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to probably get some airplane tickets.
Before
Yeah.
that, yeah. Well, yeah, it would be the time to plan it now, but yes.
My part of travel by air. The Ricket parts.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting.
Mhm.
And Pisces were, no Pisces, okay. All right, we have Venus in Cancer. Now, these are the personal planets, and every month I typically go over the changing signs in the personal planets because they affect us more personally, and they're easier to identify. The other planets are they move slower and they are going on for longer periods. I will touch on some of them, but not all of them. Because it's just too much information. But, so bear with me. Okay, so Venus in Cancer. Venus is the energy in the sky that what we attract to us, what we want, what we desire, and how we attract what we want and desire to us. And so that type of an energy right now is going to be in Cancer coming up. Well, today is what, the 17th, so this is in 2 days it starts. May 19th through, again, June 12th, so it's the middle of June. And it's going to be much more emotional type energy. So you're going to want to feel secure. You're going to want to feel protected. So you're going to gather to you people who give you these types of feelings and or security, so to speak. But it has to do with, it's kind of like a mommy energy, so to speak. Nurturing, protective, and home. Do I feel like home? But it will be focused on giving and receiving back and forth in relationship. So you may see a change in your relationships. You may see that your partners want more. They want more. They may just want you to sit there and be there because they just want to feel secure that you're there, you know. It's a different type of an energy. But they want to feel secure. And so, you know, it also may bring in energies as far as being more vulnerable in relationships or being more sympathetic to listen to partners or to hear what people have to say. It may bring that out. It can also bring out, you know, just focusing more on family matters, family dynamics, children, the home, the land, things like that. You know, now the weather's getting nice and it's the cultivation of the land and the outside, so that fits right in with it as well. But it's attracting these types of relationships with people who will give you this in return. So how will this play out for you? Okay, so Gemini, it's going to be more so in your second house. You're going to start to see possibilities or potentials on how you can increase either your money, the value of your money, or what you spend your money on, or it has to do with, you may start making purchases that have to do with things around the home, beautifying your home, making it more of a home, basically, making it more family oriented, security oriented, and more of you know, a home to bring people to, nurturing, and you know, just nurturing yourself and or your home. But it's putting money into these types of things and or buying things that would have to relate to that type of a thing. For the most part. Cancers, I think it has all to do about yourself. It'll be nurturing yourself. It'll be working on taking care of yourself, mommying yourself, just giving yourself what you need. So that's a nice energy. Leo, you're going to be letting go. So you may actually be going through your house and getting rid of things that you're holding on to, as far as possibly even things, you know, cleaning out your attic, but they may be things from your family or your parents, or things that have been handed down to you, or you could be cleaning out rooms, but it has to do with cleaning up, letting go, but there's an emotional bond, or there's emotional attachment to it, where you're going to appreciate the experience, but then move on and let it go. So that's a focus for Leo. Virgo, it has to do with groups. So you may actually be spending more times with groups that have to do with these types of people. Maybe you're going to be involved with a group that has to do with mothers or parents, or activities that have to do with land, gardening, resources, but you're meeting with and interacting with people that have to do with either the home or with people who will make you feel very secure and emotionally listened to. If that makes sense. Libra, 10th house. For you, it has to do with your work, and people may start to come and cry on your shoulder and tell you more than you really want to know. But it has to do with, it'll have to do with your profession, it'll have to do with your work and or your outer appearance. But it may be too much information or too much emotional, you know, just you would rather have it just be short, sweet, succinct, and then let me do my job. But so there's a challenge there in that regard. Scorpio, 9th house. It has to do with actually maybe taking an emotional adventure and traveling, doing something, going somewhere far, far away, just because you want to, just because it'll make you feel good and you just want to have an adventure. So it's just something that emotionally will make you very happy. Or you'll spend money emotionally on something just because it'll give you some sense of future goals for future security, so to speak. And then we have Capricorn. All right, you are actually going to be, it has to do with the relationship, so it'll either be a personal relationship with your significant other, or it will be a work relationship with a boss or a partner, or it'll be with someone that you have a committed obligation to. And so you're going to need to listen to what the other person wants to say. And it'll be in a conversation that has to do with money, value, emotions, emotional worth. You value me. What do we value? And it has to do with security, money, emotions, and just being heard. Does that sound about right? Okay. And then Aquarius, 6th house. So for you, it's going to be, again, you may be making a change, a psychological change, to just spend time for yourself, as far as putting more time into your schedule for you, for your personal health, for your personal development, for your personal security, and mommying your schedule. But it's based on you, either your health or your productivity or your duties, but getting that time in there for yourself, that's going to give you, that extra mommy type, for yourself. But it's bringing it in through through making changes in your routine, psychological changes.
Service to others too.
Well, it could be service to others, yeah.
Still gotta watch my grandkids.
Okay, it could be service to others, yeah. But it's still getting that in there for you too.
Yeah, I'm getting the kids out there exercising. I'm exercising when I'm at it because I'm active.
All right.
Running with the boys.
Yeah. So, but you're mommying them,
Right.
so to speak. So anyway, through the middle of June. Now here, this is going to go on a while. This is a big thing this month. And we talked about Mars in Aquarius. Today is the 17th. So Mars just went into Aquarius yesterday. We're at the 17th of the month. There's a lot going on right now. And Mars just changed signs. So Mars changed a sign, and Mars is your how you assert yourself in the world, is how you what you do, how you project yourself in your everyday, what you do with your energy, how you perform. It's your performance. What makes you move forward throughout life. And it has been in a sign with all the other heavy planets, which is Pluto and Saturn, which is all about being accountable, but authority. It's been very responsible, accountable, but being very conscious of how you use and project your power in the world and how that's affecting other people. That is something that's going on at the same time, and Mars was actually in the mix, making that much more prevalent. Okay. Also right now, I'm not going to get off topic. So this is changing signs into Aquarius. So it's going to change from being more accountable and to being, I want change. I need change, I need progress, I need to see results, I need to see practical results. Ideas on how that's going to happen. But it's actually starting to take the energy to move the changes forward, and that started yesterday. Okay, but it has more to do with freeing yourself from limitations, coming up with new ideas, you may have new discoveries that come to you that change your mind on how you're going to move forward. But it has to do with and thinking through how you can use technology differently in your life to make your life better, easier, or more productive. It's these types of energy, but it's also, those are the positive aspects of Mars in Aquarius, okay? The negative ones bring out anger, violence, war, rebellion, because it's rebellion. It's a very rebellious energy if it's unchecked. And so this is in the air. We also have other planets that are creating additional tension to this, which is Uranus, but I don't want to bring that in. I'll talk about that when we talk about Uranus. But this is one of the things that are driving the tension in the air right now, okay? And this energy will go on through August 13th. So we have May through August. So how many months is that? 3? Okay. And it's going to go retrograde. So the focus is, and let me tell you how it's going to affect you, then I'll walk through it, okay? Because there are several slides on Mars. So first of all, so hold the thought, and then you can apply it as I go through the slides. So Gemini, it's your 9th house, so it's on your wisdom, it's on your education, it's on your knowledge, it's on your traveling, maybe going to travel for wisdom, so it could be the UAC conference for you, Bob, but it's also, you want to see progress, you want to see change, and it's goal setting on how these things can be applied. So breaking through the barriers and making change. But it's in the 9th house, so for you it will just easily fall right in line, and you'll have teachers or speakers or advisors easily accessible to you, and knowledge, so it's going after that type of thing with Mars. Cancer, it has to do with making changes, and this is the Mars changing energy with looking at other people's resources, their monies, their partnerships, their alliances, and making changes on what's going to go on with that. But it's a change of perception. It's actually making changes to move on in new directions. And Leo, for you, Genesee, it has to do with your relationships or your partnerships. So you want changes. This is a opposition for you. So it has to do with relationships with partners, either your significant other or your work boss or superiors, or anyone you have in a commitment contracted type of a relationship. And so you're both going to want to see progress, change, advancements, new ideas. How can I have new ideas? And you're going to be bouncing them off of each other. And so you'll either work together or you'll work in separate areas and have to come to some kind of a compromise. But this will go on for 3 months. So it's definitely change in the direction of how things are going within the relationship, within how are you proceeding down the path, okay? And then we have Virgo, which is, again, that has to do with health. And Virgo may actually have, they're going to be making changes in their lifestyle, I would think. There will be an energy to make, what sign are you?
I'm an Aries.
Oh, you're an Aries, okay. We're going to add you into the mix.
Okay.
So Virgos actually, it will be making changes in your health routine or in your service or in your job. You may even make changes in your job as to what you do for a living, but it has to do with a need for having independence or wanting independence, a need to have more freedom on the job or within your routine or within your lifestyle, and then coming up with ideas on how you're going to accomplish that. But it's through a change of the perception on how you would do that. And then we have Libra. We have a Libra, yes. It has to do with your children. So you're going to be actually coming in with new ideas, new ways for fun, new ways for progress. You might be teaching them the computer, or you might be giving them new ways to look at working with people, or getting them involved with new teams or new sports or new recreational groups, so to speak. But progress and advancement, something like that. And Scorpio, 4th house, isn't that the truth? Changes around the home. So that is going to have to do with making changes for the future around your home, around the land, your property, or your parents, or your culture. But it has to do with the past. It has to do with making changes from your past and how you're going to move forward and how you're going to define that. So that's work. That's going to be a lot of work. We don't have a Sag. Capricorn, you're going to be looking at new ways that you can make money, progressive ways, new ideas, new intellectual property. It will have to do with value. How can I bring value to this new way of looking at things? It has to do with, you're creating social change. So it has to do with new ideas, new new frequencies, but it also has to do with being unconventional. So it's a drive for unconventional new methods that will provide progress and change. And so you're looking at, how can I bring value to this? Okay? And the first are Aquarius. It's all about you. So you're going to be looking at changing yourself, basically. You're looking at, how can I change myself? How can I be different? How can I bring in new ideas? How can I express my new ideas? But also, in an it has to do with in an unconventional way. So you're bringing in new information, or you're maybe even changing your whole lifestyle in a very unconventional way, and or new and different. But different. It's unique. Does this fit? You may be changing your environment too, your location or your immediate surroundings. You may be changing, relocating. You have plans for that?
Not yet.
Okay. But that may be coming in, but it's all about you, your environment, your presence, your knowledge, what you give out to the world, your ideas, and but there's something about it that's new and different and unconventional. Okay. an Aries, you are going to be making changes within, well, it's Mars. So it has to do where you're going to put your energy, where you're going to put your ambition. And your ambition is focused in groups. It'll be in groups of people, teams of people, or a social cause, or it'll have to do with your in-laws or your friends. But it's going to be a focus and a drive in that area, getting people to work together and changing their ideas, changing their, not necessarily their beliefs, but coming in with new ways of doing things. Does that fit? It started yesterday, okay? It's a new energy. This is piggybacking off of what we just went through and what is still going on based on the other planets, but it's based on where we have been putting our trust in our authority in the world and how we are presenting ourselves in the world. Now we're looking at new ways we can introduce that authority in new directions, and the houses I just gave you is where it's going to be addressed. Does that make sense? No?
I don't know, because which houses I mean,
Well,
because I wasn't here for
yours
that,
was
I don't
friends
know.
and groups and teams.
Oh, I
and-
see, got it.
Okay. If you don't understand, please ask
No,
me.
it's okay.
Okay.
Some of it, yeah.
So it's piggybacking off of, where you've been driving, actually putting your power and your functionality in the world for the last 8 years, so to speak, since 2010. Now you're going to be trying to implement that in new ways, progressive ways in your life to make changes. You guys following? Okay. Did it make sense? Okay. So that being said, this is the energy. It started yesterday, but it is going to retrograde, okay? Which is why it will stay in this sign for 3 months. And it's important because anytime a planet retrogrades, it gives you an opportunity to reevaluate, and in this case, it's the direction you're headed in. And am I headed in the right direction? And if I'm not, then what is it that's not right about it? What has to be fixed? What has to be changed? And it gives you an opportunity to go through and look at, you're looking at, obstacles, you're looking at the competition, you're looking at, as far as Mars in Aquarius, you'll be looking at the fact that it's unconventional. You're going to be looking at the receptivity. You're going to be looking at the team players involved, and are the team players on board? Are they dependable? Are they stable? Are they reliable? You're going to be looking at all these things. It'll have to do with your authority, your career, or your reputation in the world. And so it's a time to button up all the loose ends and reevaluate the direction you're moving forward in. And so this is actually what it does. And a retrograde, for those of you who don't know what a retrograde, the path of the planet actually, it makes a little loop. So from the Earth's perspective, it looks like the planet's moving backwards, but it's not. It's actually making a loop, which gives you an opportunity to look at that from all different perspectives before you continue moving forward on your path. Okay? And that's what that's trying to show you there. What's very interesting is that the opposition point of this path is on July 27th, which is the same day that we have a lunar eclipse. Okay? So that is going to be intensified by the eclipse, which I will tell you what that means, okay, in a minute. But hold that thought. Okay, So when we have a retrograde, retrogrades bring in delays, okay? They also bring in extremes. So it can bring in, your personal drives and your desire to move forward can be thwarted, or it can be stunted in some way, just based on the energy in the universe and around you that's affecting everyone else as well. Or it can be amplified. It can go one way or the other. But typically it has the connotation of being delayed. So whatever you're planning on, and if you're planning anything during these dates, which the retrograde is, it's June 26th through August 27th. So that is 2 months, basically, of an energy. Mars is the driving force that moves everything forward. So if that force is not operating at full potential, then everything kind of just stands still. It's stagnant, okay? So if you're planning, career moves or, growth goals, or anything that has to do with growth, know that Mars is going to be retrograde, so things aren't going to be moving as quickly as you might have hoped. Or partners may not be on board, or they may not make decisions, or they may not sign contracts because there's this delay that's going on. Everyone's reassessing what they're working on as well before they move forward. So it's an energy that we're all going through, but you can count on the fact that you will start to see sluggish movement. Okay? So it's a very good planning tool to use in your life. Athletic achievements, enterprising decisions, also athletics, performance, anything that's performance driven, the energy just isn't there to support the performance, so or it'll be exacerbated. It can go either way. But typically it's not there, so you won't see the same results that you're used to. It can also bring in minor health extremes. Mars typically rules the blood, it rules the head, it rules anything that has to do with the reproductive organs, the nerves, the spinal cord. So when it goes retrograde, things will, may slow down or not perform the same way, or it may bring back issues from the past that affected these areas of your body. So it may bring that back. Again, it's only 2 months, but it's something to be aware of. And if you're doing any kind of building or construction or engineering or anything that has to do with, again, progress moving forward, there will be a lot of delays. There will also, the armed forces and warfare, which is a good thing, delayed. Or it may bring in, see, the way this works is this is new energy, okay? And during a retrograde, you really don't want to bring in new energy, although it may bring you back old energy, okay? So it may bring back into your life things from the past. So if we had a war with a country in the past, it may bring back another war with that same country, you see? Or if we had a war with someone in our lives, it may bring back that war, with that person in our lives. So it can bring back things as well. What you want to do is tie this into the area I gave you in the beginning of where it's going to affect your sign to make sense of it all. Okay? So here, it can bring back relationships from the past. It can bring back, interactions, intimacy from the past. It can bring back joint partnerships, which would be nice if you're in business and you used to work with a certain company, or you had relationships in the past and monetary exchanges. It can bring back that relationship, which would be really nice. It can bring back money from the past. It can bring back unfinished performance as far as for yourself, things that you had promised yourself that you never got around to doing. It can bring back that into your life. It can bring back past counselors or coaches or trainers, lawyers. It can bring back, or it can bring back enemies. So it's just the way it works. But what it's for, anytime a planet goes retrograde, it's a good time to really go inside yourself. So for this planet, it's a good time to go inside and really do what you need to do physically for yourself. Make changes for yourself. Go inside, focus on what you have control over and what you can do for yourself that has been pushed aside. Psychologically too, it's a good time to go in psychologically and look at things that you never have time to look at. So it's reconnecting with the internal self-awareness and what you desire. It's stabilizing your life goals and making a plan to move forward, but it's a good time to do that for yourself. So this 2-month period, and it's right during the summer, so it's really telling us all to take the summer off. Okay, so when Mars goes retrograde, it's not a good time for surgery. It's a good time to heal and it's a good time to recover, but I wouldn't recommend having surgery if you can control your dates, because Mars rules surgery, and it's not functioning to its highest level of performance when it's retrograde. So I would also, it's not a good time to be involved in competitive athletic events where you need to have, an ideal time or an ideal performance, because you really can't count on your energy levels at this time, and your performance may not be at max. You really don't want to start businesses or actually new relationships during a retrograde, because they may, once you start a business or anything, it gives it a birth chart. And if you have a Mars retrograde in your birth chart, then the energy of that business will not necessarily thrive and grow and perform the way you might like it to. So it's a good thing to not open a business during this time, or if you start a new job at this time, you may decide.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So say you're looking into starting a business prior to that, and you're going through training before retrograde.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
training is fine
Okay.
during the retrograde. But I wouldn't, if you can help it, I wouldn't start or plan to start it during the retrograde, because you may find when the planet goes direct that you may
I think
decide.
it's 2 weeks before that is when I do my first.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, starting it before, because then the retrograde will give you that time to process and to learn and to understand, because that's the retrograde, it like gives you that time to develop.
So is this the same, so you know how when Mercury goes into retrograde, there's always that before the date?
Yes.
Is this the same?
Yes. All
So
the planets have that same situation where it's
It's
called
almost
the
like-
shadow period.
Yeah, like the week prior to June 26th.
Well, they all have different levels of timing, but
That's-
yes.
Okay.
So this one, and actually, I'll get to this one starts May 12th. I just did it, so. The shadow period for the Mars retrograde starts May 12th, which was 5 days ago.
Okay, so is that going to be an interference in what I'm doing with my business?
I would say between May 12th and June 26th, you're good.
So I signed a agreement the 15th of May.
Yeah,
So-
and that's right when Uranus changed into Taurus.
And the new moon.
And the new moon, yeah.
I think it was the 15th. Yeah.
That's
So I
fine.
signed it, but it's just like the preliminary, and then I'm waiting for them to give me the actual agreement to sign again. This is, I mean, I don't want to worry about this, but.
This is not Mercury retrograde.
I know, but
It's
still.
Mars retrograde.
Right.
So you may find that you will discover delays in whatever your plans are during this time.
Well, it's been.
Or
I feel like it's
it
been.
will give you time to implement the changes and the performance you want
Okay.
to make happen. But it's not Mercury. So Mercury is when you want to really analyze the contract and the wording and
Mhm.
the agreement. It's not that. It's the energy, but it's also the drive. Because during the retrograde, it's a good time to go inside and make the changes that need to be made so you can open up when it's over with, and then you're ready to perform.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
So you're okay, I think. But I wouldn't start the business during the retrograde because the energy isn't there, the enthusiasm isn't there, and when it goes direct, you may find that you're going to change everything you already started.
Including direction.
Hmm?
Including direction.
Including direction. Well, that's actually coming in with that opposition that I showed you earlier. So legal battles, not a good time to start them, good time to carry them through. There may be delays. But anything that has to do with other people's money, other people's resources, joint investments, you're going to find that people aren't necessarily if it's new relationships, they're not necessarily going to be, working efficiently together. There will be delays. If it's old, it may work just fine. It's just the way it is. So it's a good time to make the plans and to get it right and to make sure that the direction you're headed in is the right direction and the moves you're making are the right moves and the players are the right people. That's the whole point of the retrograde. The bigger picture is, again, how it's going to play out for your bigger goal. This is just the driving force of the bigger goal, okay? This is the day, remember when I showed you the opposition point in the cycle, okay? So the day is July 27th, okay? That's when, even though it's still retrograde, I think we're all going to get an awareness of some sort because it is tangent with the lunar eclipse, that something's changing and something that we counted on may not be able to be counted on. So we may find that there are either emotional needs of others where they need something from you that you weren't expecting, or it could be that people may be leaving that you weren't expecting. You expected them to be part of the bigger picture or being part of the plan. Or you may find that there are obstacles as far as competitive resources or actually, I would say it has to do with money, your money and other people's money, and your resources and what other people are going to provide or give to you or work with you, but also unexpected changes that have to do with your project. So that's the eclipse coming in. And it happens to be at the awareness point, which I thought was very interesting. It just amazes me how they all line up at the exact times to play out with each other. But you'll know what you're dealing with. You should know what you're dealing with by July 27th. And then you can start to make changes. And then this just goes into the eclipse, which is a repeat summary of what I just said to you. But, with this eclipse energy, there's something in your life that maybe you may be letting go of in the middle of July. It's already starting to play out now. It's just starting. There are events that are being triggered right now that are just starting this action of what may be coming in. The eclipse is, your vision's becoming a reality. You're getting support. People are supporting you, and you're growing and you're getting recognition. But it's increasing your duties. It's increasing, from where you're coming from, where you're going to. So you've got like a tug of war going on with the past partners and the future partners. And so there may be a change in values this is the eclipse. There may be a change of values along the way coming in with you, with the changes that you're going through along this path. And so there may be people leaving your life. If it's not people, it may be projects, or it may be what you thought you were going to do, or what you thought you were going to be, may be changing into something else. But it has to do with some sense of realization that that you may be letting go of something that is of value to you. And it can have to do with your money. It can have to do with, it could be children going away to school. It could be children relocating to another place that's not close. It could be realizing that you aren't having fun anymore, that you filled your life with work, nothing but work, and all of a sudden you realize that there's no fun anymore, It could be changes in the stock market. It could play out very many ways, but there is something that will change coming in that you should be aware of by July 27th for all of us. And again, depending on everyone's chart, it will affect other people more closely than others on the alignments on your individual charts, on how it will play out. So on one hand, it's really good because it's going to give you leadership and advancement and recognition, but on the other hand, you're going to be letting go of something along in the process as well. So it's not bad, it's change. But that is tangent with this Mars retrograde energy. And this should be triggered when Mars is still retrograde, so that it will still give you an opportunity to make the changes that need to be made, so that when Mars goes direct, you can then start moving forward and going along your path. Although the path may be a little different than what it was you thought in the beginning. Is this making sense? That's the energy. So by August 27th, Mars goes direct. Here's the cycle here. So you can see May 12th through June 27th, Mars is direct. Okay, so that's good. And then June 27th through August 27th is when Mars is retrograde. So it's just, stagnant, just, it's like it's not moving.
Super slow.
Mm-hmm. Stagnant energy. Or just not, it's not, it's just not, you get it. And then from August 27th to October 8th, that's the completion of this cycle. So, and the whole point of the cycle is to gain stability in what the direction you're moving in. This is now tangent with Uranus, which will come next, because the whole focus now is to gain stability in the world. Before you project and go on your path and introduce it into the world, you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, and you have all your players in a row, and you have all your the support team. so to speak, and you're on board with it too. And the big thing too, and the retrograde period is to go inside and say, is this really what I want to do? So you have to make sure you're on board with it too. But you should know. You should know by August 27th. By the time it goes direct, you should know what you're doing. Okay. All right. All right. This I left in here. This was in last month's lecture, but I left it in here because it just happened yesterday. Yesterday was a very big day. So we had Mars changing signs, we had Uranus changing signs, and a lot of the tension right now in the sky is because they're squaring each other. And what does that mean? Mars is driving for new ideas, freedom, and invention and progress, and Uranus is driving for stability, resourcefulness, and productivity. So they're two different energies, and they're squaring each other. So what we're all feeling in the world right now is just this tension and this angst of not knowing what direction to go in. So this is a new path which will come in for the next 8 years, and it just changed yesterday. So we're coming out of a cycle where we've been really driven to be independent, to be free. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I want to do this, and I'm going to do this. Okay, we're coming out of this cycle, and to be new, to be revolutionary, and to break boundaries and barriers, and to perform, and now it's changed into, okay, I've done that. Now I have to prove my worth. Now I have to show my resourcefulness. Now I have to see the money. And now I have to feel stable. Okay. I need stability. I can't keep living on the edge like this. I need to have stability. I need to have resources. I need to be able to plan. And that's the new energy. And it's going to go on. You guys are all laughing.
It's just exactly what I was talking to Genesee about today.
Okay.
Verbatim.
Yeah.
Word for word, basically.
And I'm like, I told her like yesterday, just like, what happened yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday. And this whole week now, from the 16th through, or actually the 14th, from the 14th through the 21st, is this change taking place. And it's the conflicting energies that are battling, because you still want your freedom, but you know what, I really need to have my security too. So, and that's, the good thing is that this is bringing in, it's bringing in a focus on the economy. It's bringing on the focus on materialism, material things, and finances, on your ability to make a living, and the growth of that, or the situation of that. A look at that. It's also looking at, if you should start to see a change in the direction of technology, and the direction of the stock market, and the direction of the advancements in the world. So, all of this would actually be good for what you're thinking. It has to do, it's going to be a focus on growth.
Does this still have the same, I know you reviewed this last month, and it doesn't have the same aspects connected to the area of our chart, right? Do you have that?
I
where
have
this
that.
connects?
All right, let me bring that in so you guys can identify where that will fit with you. Do you remember your Mars?
What we just
went over?
Groups? I don't know what you were.
Yours was Aquarius for you, so yours was money. yours was the ability to become more profitable, new ways to make money, new ways to make, to show your value, show your worth.
That's Capricorn.
That's for Capricorn, with this new Mars energy coming in. Okay. Do you remember yours? I'm going
That
back.
was my first house.
Yes,
Mars.
it's you.
Yeah.
Okay, and yours is,
Some opposition with
opposition with your
partnership.
partners. Bring balance to. Through agreements and harmony and compromise. Okay. So Uranus and Taurus. So this new energy coming in for Gemini, Bob, it's going to be in your 12th house. So you're actually going to be it has to do with wanting its change. You want change and you want freedom and you want to see results and prosperity, but it has to do with you letting go of I would say old ideas or old securities, mind related, that you may be holding on to, or spending more time. It's 12th house, so spending more time working with people that you aren't necessarily in the same room with. So, isolated. You still have the relationships, but they may be over the phone or they may be over the internet. They're not there, if that makes sense. But it's like you're cleaning house. It's like
You laughed
Maybe a couple.
the moon goes through it, every 30 days, so brings in opportunities all the time. But it's a cycle for you. It's a change of focus because you want security. So it's you want stability and you want security, but it has to do with your freedom. But in order to have that, you have to let go of things you're holding on to that you're cleaning house. So it could be you could be doing, you could get involved in charities and things like this too.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and that may be a way too, but it's like you're going through the last cycle before you move on into a new area. So you're cleaning house, you're cleaning up. Does that make sense? No, huh?
Maybe revolutionaries, but going through a revolution.
But it is, but it's
secret enemies.
well, you could be cleaning up your secret enemies, getting rid of them. But it's also finishing up unfinished business. But it could also be making changes. You may start to learn the computer.
Maybe. Or get better at it, yeah.
Yeah, and that would because it's a change of focus to become more stable and to become more productive and to become more resourceful. And so that would require, 12 hours, spending more time in isolation, working with people. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Maybe going back to school.
Not with this, so to speak.
Okay.
That may come in through a different aspect.
Well, it's still through the internet.
It's through the internet, through the computer.
Online.
Online,
Right.
yeah. It could be online dating.
Nah, I tried that. Doesn't, no.
But anyway, yours is 12th house related. So, and it's endings. It's letting go, cleaning up, making room for the new. So, it's making changes, progressive changes, but you're making, room for the new. But charity work, I think, would be a big part of that as well.
My my ruler is
Spiritual
squared.
work too,
Yeah.
spiritual work would be a new focus and direction that would come in with that.
We need to learn how to meditate.
Yeah, that would fall in with that. Bring in teachers, gurus, go on other dimensions, working on planes.
That'd be too cool.
Yeah. So it could be a whole new discovery of a whole new world for you. Cancer, it's a focus on solidifying relationships in groups and organizations and cooperative working back and forth, cooperation, but making changes in social work, social organizations, and progressive changes that have to do with making a difference. So there's a focus more on getting involved in groups for cancers. Leo, it has to do with your career. So for you, it's going to be work related. You've got work coming in for you for the next 8 years. But making changes that are going to make a difference. Changes that you can use and implement through your career that will drive change, that will drive for social reform, that will be productive and stable and bring in new ideas, new advancements. But you have to break down barriers and pioneer through walls, okay? So everything you did for the last 8 years, you get to implement into your career now. Virgo, they get the nice one. They get to travel, expand their horizons, expand their awareness, work with teachers, go back to school, concretize what they're doing and make practical changes, but through expanding their awareness, developing their mind. It's nice. That's nice. Anything that has to do with Sag, I think, and it could bring in spiritual growth and development too, but it also has to do with making that growth stable and making it practical in the world. All of this has to do with that. Then we have Libra. Libra has to do with making changes in working with other people and finances and working through differences and making adjustments. It has to do with making changes in the way you work with other people's money and or the way they work with you and on how you rely on each other. But how do you make them stable? How do you make them perform and be accountable? How do you make them grow? How do you make the money grow? How do you make investments where your money will grow? So it all has to do with that type of thing, and it can also have to do with intimacy and bringing in stability in your intimate relationships. Sorry about that. I was telling me we have to wrap this up in half an hour because I tend to go on for hours. And I have to leave at 8 o'clock. Okay. Where are we? Scorpio. So Scorpio has to do with the 7th house, which is partnerships and relationships. So it will actually be through making changes and productive changes in relationships. Making progressive changes so that the relationships can grow and become stable and productive. So, and again, that's through balance, it's through compromise, it's through coming to a win-win situation with your either your partners or your work or your alliances or your contracts with your employers or boss or significant others. So it's compromise and balance and negotiating back and forth. Capricorn, for you, you've got a nice one. You get to play.
Thanks.
You get to play. It's nice. So it's fifth house. So you're going to be coming in with developing, and exactly that, developing progressive ways that you can make money and growth potential, but through recreation or through travel or through creating creativity, through creating projects, through birthing new projects, new opportunities. But it's making play, something that you would consider playful, productive. Does that make sense? And it's easy. It's just it's fun. It's fun energy. It could be the stock market too. You could actually do very well with money in the stock market.
I love to play. In my work, I use that term all the time. Let's play with it.
Yeah.
So I do healing work.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would work well too. Yeah. You should invest money.
Let's
We got to bring it in first.
All right, we're done with that.
Aries.
Aries. Oh, I'm so sorry. I
We do
wasn't in the
Aquarius?
habit of doing Aries. Oh, I didn't do Aquarius either. Okay, I'm slipping. Okay, fourth house. Aquarius is fourth house, so it has to. It's actually a large focus on your home, making changes in your home, grounding it, making it stable, making it productive, making it resourceful, bringing value to it. If you're thinking of putting it on the market, it would be giving value to it, and or making changes to the land or cultivating the land, basically making it. And you could be doing more work from home. You could be working from home and making money, things like that. But it has to do, and all of this whole energy is actually good for the in general with the other planets, but I'll get to that. So anything that has to do with cultivation of your home or your foundation, your core foundation, the stability of your core foundation, your with yourself. Meditation for you would be good, based on the 4th and the 12th house coming in. That would be good.
What about remodeling?
Remodeling, yes. Remodeling. And changing up the home to make it more beautiful. Taurus, more beautiful, bringing in art, bringing in decorations, furniture, fabrics, all that type of thing. Food. Entertainment.
I've been thinking about all that.
Yeah. Taurus in the home, and making.
Yesterday and today, actually, I've been thinking about it.
What, really? Just
Yeah.
yesterday and today? Because it just changed yesterday. It
Yeah.
really did. It just changed yesterday.
Well, I want to change my
Yeah.
carpet and stuff like that.
Yeah, carpeting, all that stuff. It's all Taurus, and it's work. It's all work related. It's a square, so you're going to be breaking down and making changes, rebuilding. And then Aries, you're looking at new ways where you can make investment. How you can be more. How you can be more. What's the right word? Your earning capacity. How you can increase your earning capacity, how you can increase the value of what you do and who you are. But you're looking at material things, like I need to see it, show me the money, I need to see it right here in front of me. The idea is an illusion, I need to see it right here in front of me. So seeing the possibilities on the changes you can make to become more to produce wealth, to become more valued, to have more ownership over your resources, or to produce your own income, to have more ownership over your wealth and your resources versus having to rely on what other people give you or provide to you. So it's a whole change of focus on being stable. Does that fit?
I think so.
Okay. All right, we're almost done. So the good thing with this new energy is that it is in alignment with the other planets in the sky. So before, for the last 8 years, there was a lot of tension in the sky because the planets were in tension with each other. And now with this shift, they're all cooperating together. Other than the eclipses that come in to stir things up, the planets are cooperating together and they're working together. So there should be more harmony and peace and productivity as far as, Saturn trining Uranus. It's an excellent time for learning new ways, for growth in your profession, for making more money, for being recognized for your resources, for being given more attention. You could get support from your superiors. You could get job opportunities. You could get recommendations, or just people are helping and being more supportive now for your growth and development. It's in the air. And so you have much more of a potential for greater power and authority because the planets are all supporting each other. It's over an 8-year period, but you don't have that constant tension going on, which has shifted. Although with Pluto's still in a tense position right now. But you should be able to experience more of a peaceful, cooperative energy with the people around you. And Pluto trining Uranus, it's going to give you, easier to understand the process, easier to understand more difficult concepts, and to learn new ways, new beliefs, progress, being open to new ideas, being open to change, not necessarily stuck in the past so much. It's just going to make things easier to bring in new ideas and new awarenesses, so that would be good for what you're doing too. The energy is supporting you. Okay, real quick, I'm going to do the moon phases this month. We have a new moon in Gemini, and I'm going to do them all together so that I can play them out for you the way they would work. Now, so you understand the moon phases. Every time you have, we have 13 moons every year, and each moon phase, it's a cycle, and each moon phase brings in new opportunities for the month, new projects to work on, and they focus on a certain area of your life where your energy is going to be focused and what you're going to be, applying yourself to. And then it's cyclic. So, you have the new moon, which is actually the beginning, the project. And when you have the new moon, usually new situations will come into your life, new opportunities will come into your life, and you have an emotional gut reaction to act on them. Okay, it's habit forming. It's habitual. And you will react based on habit, on how you might approach the opportunities that come in. This month, the opportunities are in Gemini, So it's going to bring in opportunities to make changes, communicate, social. It'll be sociable. It may give you opportunities to write, to research, to learn, to negotiate. You're interacting with people, other people, and it's a playful energy. Our Gemini is playful. It could be scattered, though. There could be many opportunities that come in, but it will bring in possibly opportunities for more traveling or for more local engagements or networking. But that's the type of energy that's coming in on the 13th. And I'll tell you how it'll apply to you, but let me go through all three of them, okay? And then the next one, the first quarter moon, so you have the new moon, and then it's basically 4 stages. So the first quarter moon is that point, it's a week later, and it's that point where you have, you need to move forward in order to make this opportunity manifest into something, and you need to move forward on it, but you don't really have all the information to work with. So you're making advancements, and you're taking chances. Okay, so there is a struggle to get over that first hump, so to speak. But it's empowerment through a challenge or a crisis. You need to take action in order for something to play out, but you really don't have all the information. So you're taking chances. And that energy is in Virgo. So we have the sociable energy. Then a week later, okay, I need details. So if it's a contract or if it's an opportunity for something, you're going to have to come up a week later that has to do with, okay, I need details on how that's going to play out. Or, if I'm buying something, well, what am I buying? And why do I want it? So it's the pros and cons, or it's the, the dissection of, do I really want this? Or it's critical, the critical assessment of looking at all the details, but it's that, looking for objective information as to the beginning. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So that's the next week. And that's June 20th. And then the full moon this month is in Capricorn, which is the energy of practicality. So anytime we have a full moon, and every month we have one, the cycle is what started on, in this case, the 13th, I think it was, will come to fruition on the 28th of the month. And so you're going to get the awareness of what you started on the 13th as to how it played out. It's either going to play out in a fulfilling way, where you're going to, you will have accomplished something. You're fulfilled. It's practical. You've been responsible. It may give you recognition. It's a realistic accomplishment. Or you may get opposition from others that are conservative. They may be too conservative. They may be too controlling. They may not like what you've done. They may give you, practical reasons why it won't work. It can go one way or the other. That's what the full moon brings in every month. It's the awareness of either it's going in the right direction, it's going in the wrong direction, or how can we compromise. And so this month it's going to be in Capricorn, so it will be a something you've built that has a purpose and it has integrity. Basically that's the objective. So, that being said, I'll tell you how it's going to play out for each of you. Does anyone have any questions? Because I'm just going on and on.
15 minutes.
15 minutes? Okay. Okay, so we have Aries. So for you, you're going to start out in the third house. So you may get opportunities where people ask you to speak, or people ask you to communicate in some way, or you may get an opportunity. You may want to advertise. You want to communicate with the world around you, the immediate world around you. But you're going to get cooperation. Or it could be something that brings in your siblings too. Your brothers or sisters, or it could have something that brings in transportation, or going from here to there. But you're familiar with the area, but it's social. Okay, but you're working with other people and you're getting cooperation. And then the challenge comes in for you in the 6th house, where you have to make changes to your routine and your day-to-day operations. It's not working efficiently, so you will need to change up either your routine or your practices or your schedule or your employees or your pets. It maybe have something, if you have pets, it could have something to do with your pets. But you're going to have to make changes in the way you change up your schedule. Okay? And then the awareness comes in for you in the 10th house, so it has to do with your career. And so you're going to have to you're going to be working hard. You're going to be putting a plan in place, and you're going to be making it concrete. So you're going to have to, move through blocks or barriers or challenges in order to make things happen. So it's work related. Does that seem to fit?
I mean, if it's the thing that I'm thinking of, then yeah, 'cause it's.
Okay.
It is.
Just do the 4. Just do the 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to do the 4 of us right now. Okay, because then I really do have to leave at 8 o'clock. But are you good? Okay. All right. Then we have Leo. So Leo, that would be the 11th house. So you're going to start off with something social. Again, it would be a group or a cause, but probably a group or a team of people, but it has to do with communication. So an opportunity to distribute, facilitate, teach, but or bring in financial opportunities on what you can do with information within groups. Okay, it can have to do with financial. And the square for you comes in the 2nd house, where it is financial. You're looking at new ways to bring in more resources, more money, and how you can profit from the information you're providing to groups. Okay? And then the full moon brings in the 6th house, so you're actually having to make changes to your schedule. The awareness is you have to change your perception of what can be accomplished in the work schedule. Okay, it has to do with either the players, the services, or it's most likely health related. Okay, you good?
Oh, yeah.
But you have to change the way you're thinking, and you're gonna be made aware that there has to be a change in the thinking. Okay. All right. Then we have Capricorn. I'm skipping. You're 4th or you're 3rd this time. Okay, Capricorn you're going to start out in the 6th house, so you're going to see many opportunities on how you can change your service or what you're doing. It's health. It can have to do with your health itself. or the services you provide, or your work itself, just your work itself. But you're looking at making changes in restructuring, what am I going to keep, what am I going to let go of, and how am I going to make this work? Because you have to restructure what you're doing. Okay? And then for the first quarter square, it's good. You actually see goals ahead of you, and they're in full light, and they're coming into fruition. You see the opportunity for growth, you see the opportunity for education, you see the opportunity for expansion, and it's working with you. Okay? And then you have the opposition actually is a new way of looking at yourself. So you're actually, it's a rebirth of who you know yourself to be, of how you're applying yourself in the world, of how other people see you. So it's you're becoming much more accountable, professional. Okay, so that looks good. Aquarius. You start off with a trine again. So again, very fun energy in Gemini. So playful trips going all over the place with children, or activities, or recreation, or sports, or new projects, building, creating art, or just many opportunities that you can go in many different directions. So it's a real nice energy for bringing in networking and friends and fun stuff. And then for you, it goes into the 8th house, so the square comes in. Well, who's going to help me? You're looking for other people's resources, or other people's financial support, or other people's energetic support, or other people's service to help you, or you're going to have to let go of what you're doing and pick and choose, because there's too many opportunities, or there's too many challenges, or there's just too much. So you have to pick and choose what you're going to do. Does this but it has to bring in with other people and what they're going to do or what they're not going to do, and the discernment of how much money you're putting into things, and maybe needing contributions from other people to help support what you're doing. There's a shift in the way you're thinking through what you're doing. Okay, but it has to do with it's either finances or commitments, or it could be a psychological shift in the way you look at things, but it has to do with other people's resources versus yours, and only yours. And then it goes into the 12th house for you, so then again, you're back in the 12th house. So you are again, but you know what? This could tie back into the computer work. It could tie back into the computer, where it's an opposition. You're looking at new potentials on how you can make changes. And the 12th house, it's in Capricorn. So how can I be responsible, Capricorn energy, practical, an authority, but it's somewhat removed from situations, but again, it's an opposition, so you're looking at your day-to-day requirements and the fact that you are removed, so there needs to be a balance between the duties, responsibilities of the everyday mundane life and the accountability and the authority of you working in isolation or by yourself or without having the help you need. Does that make sense? It's 6th house, 12th house. It's coming into the balance
Yeah,
of the service.
I'm going to give up my freedom again for the summer until August when the kids go into daycare and back to school. So my daughter-in-law's girlfriend backed out of watching the kids for the summer.
Okay.
So I'm going to be watching the kids for the summer. I get a 2-week break, 21st to the 15th.
Well, that could have a lot to do with it.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then you may just go home to retreat.
Well, I've been doing that now.
Yeah.
My social life is nil. It's terrible.
So, but it's showing you to ask for help. Ask for help or resources from other people, financial or support.
How about time?
Time is help.
Yeah.
Time is help.
I just need more time to myself. Or for myself.
Well, there's your 12th house stuff.
I need more time.
Yeah. But, so that's how it plays out. And there's your moon. I'm sorry about that. You were all looking at a blank screen. We're done. So,
10 minutes to spare.
thank you. We done?
Yeah.